Okay, so Sonic CD sold poorly because the Sega CD was a miserable failure. This would end up causing Sega to go back to making games on cartridges again. This meant the next Sonic game would end up being developed on a cartridge and also took the title of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, bringing the Genesis games to a trilogy. Kind of. In my previous reviews, I've mentioned several times that a Sonic game should perfectly balance these three elements: exploration, platforming, and speed. When mixed right, it could help create a really fun Sonic game. While the first three games tried to balance them out, they didn't do them perfectly and usually just excelled at doing one thing right. But what if a Sonic game existed that had Sonic 1's platforming, Sonic 2's speed, and Sonic CD's exploration, all perfectly blended together into one fun gameplay style? And I'm not just talking only one of the levels does this right, but every level in the game gets it perfect. I mean, could such a game exist? Could there really be a Sonic game that is that good? I mean, holy shit, what the fuck is that? What? 2 cartridges? I wanted one game, not 2.
Actually, it is one game.
How the hell is this one game?
They couldn't fit all of it on one cartridge, so they had to cut it in half. You may notice one of them has a top loader on it. Just put the 2 together and...
Holy shit! I have nothing but positive things to say about this game. I'm cutting to the chase. This game is a goddamn masterpiece. I mean it. It does so many things that are so fucking right, I honestly can't think of anything negative to say about this game. It's that good. Like, holy fuck. Sonic Team fucking did it. This is hands down the best Sonic game ever made. How? Well, let me start by listing the many reasons. Let's start with...
Number 1, the save function!
Yup, this is the first Sonic game, on the Genesis at least, that includes a save feature. And you have about 8 save slots too. That's pretty impressive as fuck for a Genesis cartridge. After you complete the game, your save becomes a level select. It even autosaves from time to time, usually after you get a Chaos Emerald. Yup, the good old Chaos Emeralds are back and you gotta go through special stages to get them again. You're probably thinking, but Cooper, this is the 4th-ish Sonic game. Why do we have to collect the Chaos Emeralds again? Why can't Sonic already have them at the beginning if he already collected them in the last game? Well, that brings me to the next point of why this game is so fucking flawless.
Number 2, the story!
Now I know what you're thinking. A story in a Genesis game? Cooper, this is 1994. Yes, we got Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, Ed Wood, Speed, fucking The Little Rascals, and of course the ultimate cinematic masterpiece, Baby Stay Out. So, how the fuck could a Genesis game in 1994 have a story? Well, it's so fucking simple! It's not just about Eggman coming back again to use woodland critters to power his robots again. Does Sonic having to stop him again. It's actually a little more than that. This is the first Sonic game to include fucking in-game cutscenes. The 16-bit silent characters deliver the story through expression and brilliance. I mean, this plot is like the Mad Max Fury Road of Sonic games, and the story takes place immediately after Sonic 2 when Sonic somehow blew up the Death Egg. A floating island called Angel Island ends up falling into the ocean, so Sonic and Tails fly there to investigate what's going on. This is the opening cutscene where we're introduced to a new character, Knuckles the Echidna, who has hands down one of the coolest fucking introductions to a video game ever. Sonic leaps off his plane that's being driven by Tails and goes supersonic and flies on the ocean towards Angel Island. This is when Knuckles straight up punches the fucking crap out of Supersonic. Not regular Sonic, Supersonic. He punches him so hard that Sonic morphs back into regular Sonic and all the Chaos Emeralds fly away from him. Then Knuckles runs around Sonic, steals the emeralds, laughs at his misfortune, and doves off while somehow sending each emerald to a special stage off screen. Did you fucking see that? The game gives you an actual reason why you have to collect all the Chaos Emeralds again. That's fucking brilliant. This obviously isn't the last time we see Knuckles in this game. He pops up in other levels, usually dicking around with Sonic by getting in the way, sending him to different parts of the level, and just plain being a douche. You later find out that he's unsurprisingly working for Robotnik. Eggman. Somehow, after Angel Island fell from the sky, Eggman contacted Knuckles and convinced him that Sonic and Tails are enemies and are also trying to go after his most prized possession, the Master Emerald, the main power source that keeps Angel Island afloat and also gives the Chaos Emeralds their power. Knuckles is very desperate to protect the Master Emerald, so he joins forces with Eggman to stop Sonic. To Knuckles' surprise, it's actually Eggman who's trying to steal the Master Emerald to power his newly rebuilt Death Egg. Knuckles sees the errors of his ways and decides to let Sonic and Tails help him. This leads to Sonic destroying the Death Egg once again and stopping Eggbotnik for a third time. Did you fucking see that? I got all this information just from watching the in-game cutscenes. That's how brilliantly executed they are. The way the characters emote and move is limited, but flawless. You don't expect to see that kind of thing in a Genesis game. I mean, whenever you go back to replay a level, you're kind of forced to rewatch these in-game cutscenes again. Even if you collect all the Chaos Emeralds and go back to Angel Island, you see Knuckles steal them again, even though you still turn into Super Sonic. A lot of people say these in-game cutscenes somehow make the game drag. If you're talking about going back to replay the levels, then sure. But if you're playing through the entire game and you think it drags, you shut the fuck up! If you're not gonna bother paying attention to the short cutscenes this game offers you, then what's the point of playing? I don't care about story, I just want to hold right to win and tell people every Sonic game is bad just because of that reason. Great fucking reasoning, you asshole. And it's not just the cutscenes that give you examples of story progression. All the levels have small hints and little tidbits that give you a good sense of what's going on in the game's plot. This brings me to my next reason.
Number 3! The graphics!
God damn, does Sonic 3 and Knuckles look amazing. I'd even go as far to say it beats Sonic CD in terms of graphics. Every level looks visually interesting and is never boring. Not even Sandopolis, and tons of people fucking hate that level, but I freaking love it. With one of the reasons being it looks so damn cool. And this is coming from a guy who hates desert levels just about as much as everyone else. I never get a sense that the game drags. Therefore I keep playing it because nothing visually bores me in this game. Also,
Number 4! The music!
oh my god. Oh my fucking god. This is one of the best soundtracks in Sonic history. Okay, so Masato Nakamura, I still can't pronounce his name, sorry, composed the first two games, and both had some very catchy and great music. However, Sega got rid of Masato and had to find outside sources to do the music. So Sonic CD had two soundtracks, with the Japanese soundtrack being done by Naofumi Hateya and Masafumi Ogata, and the American soundtrack being composed by Spencer Nilsson, David Young, and Mark Crew. I found both soundtracks to be great, and these five certainly had less restraint since they had full range to use CD quality audio since Sonic CD was on the Sega CD. When Sonic 3 entered production, Sega switched from CDs to cartridges. This meant the next composer had to make the game sound good with the Sega Genesis' sound chip. With Masato and the Sonic CD music team not being present, there was only one option left for Sonic Team: in-house composers. And Michael Jackson. Their in-house team consisted of, and this is a long fucking list, Bobby Brooks, Brad Buxer, Doug Grimsby, Geoff Grace, Sirocco Jones, Sachio Ogawa, Daryl Ross, and the man who would thankfully stick with the series as a sound director, Jun Sano. And apparently the King of Pop himself also helped with the soundtrack. This was a rumor for many years, but countless members of Sonic's team reported that Michael Jackson did show up to write a few tracks for the game, but he was left uncredited for his work. Some people say this was either because of the controversial allegations being made against Michael at the time, or it was because MJ didn't like the way the music sounded compressed on the Genesis' sound chip, and asked for his name to be removed. I don't think the latter would make much sense because Michael did previously greenlight a Genesis game based off his movie Moonwalker, so it would seem pretty hypocritical for him to suddenly hate the way the Genesis sounded. Not to mention, with the recent information being made public about those disturbing allegations against Jackson, yeah, I'm gonna assume Sega didn't want to be that much associated with Michael at the time. What? It's not Sega's fault that Michael Jackson was kind of a sick fuck, allegedly. The dude was a genius, but man did he have problems. Okay, despite that, I think Michael Jackson and the rest of the sound team did a terrific job with the game's soundtrack. Every level tune fits the environments they're put in, and each of them are catchy as hell. You could seriously bop your head to every music track in this game. While I'm sure Michael dealt with a good portion of the game's soundtrack, I'm gonna say it's mostly Jun Sano's doing. Since Sonic 3's development got cut in half, I'm going to assume Michael Jackson spent most of his time working on the Sonic 3 portion of the game. Then when MJ had to drop out due to his trial, this must have been around the time when Sonic Team decided to split the game in two parts, with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 being released in February 1994, and Sonic & Knuckles being released 8 months later. I'm sure during that time, Sega decided to let Jun Sano take over with composing the rest of the game. If you play the cards separately, you may notice that some tracks are different. There are 2 different mini-boss themes, and even Knuckles has 2 different music cues. Pretty odd. I'm sure they must have had to do this so the lock-on capabilities wouldn't go haywire or something. I'm not a technician. Anyways, the soundtrack is still really amazing. Like I said, you can bop your head to just about every level tune, and it certainly makes you feel really excited while playing the game. Is it the best soundtrack in the series? No, but it's definitely in the top 5, maybe 3. One odd thing is that this game got ported to the PC as the Sonic & Knuckles collection way back in 1997. This version had the soundtrack recomposed by a new music team. They mainly made the Genesis sound into MIDIs, and it's pretty mediocre. The only tracks I think fit in this style are the special stage and bonus stage music. The rest of it sounds a bit offbeat and actually sounded a lot better with the Genesis' sound chip. The only reason why I'm bringing this PC port up is because the music in Carnival Night, Ice Cap, and Launch Base sound nothing like their Genesis counterparts, which is really weird because the rest of the port's music tried its best to emulate how the original track sounded. Weird. Then again, with it being confirmed that Michael Jackson had a part with helping with the music, a lot of fans like to think that those levels sound completely different due to copyright issues. Another example is that if you play Sonic 3 alone, which you just shouldn't do, what the fuck is wrong if you keep it attached to Sonic & Knuckles, you fucking idiots, the ending credits sound an awful lot like Michael's song Stranger in Moscow, and the end credits music in the Sonic & Knuckles collection also sounds completely different. Pretty interesting theory. Okay, I think the next thing I should talk about is
Number 5! The gameplay!
supposedly Sonic Team had a new engine developed just for this game, and I gotta say, the controls are fucking tight as shit. This isn't retro engine levels of Fluent, but Sonic controls super well along with Tails and Knuckles. That's right, you can play as Knuckles. But starting with Sonic, he's got a spin dash, and his super payload isn't in this game, but he does have a new move. When you press the jump button twice, you'll see some white shield appear around Sonic, and it goes super fucking fast. This is called the Insta Shield. A lot of people are like, oh, what's the point of the Insta Shield? It's so pointless and lame. You shut the fuck up, I'm about to prove your stupid ass complaints about the Insta Shield wrong, Ted. The insta-shield is great for getting easy hits on enemies if you time it properly. There are a few badniks that have spikes around certain spots on them where a simple jump or spin dash can't kill them so easily. But if you time it just right, you can jump into them and use the insta-shield, then BAM! They're dead and the animal is set free. Fucking awesome feeling. The insta-shield is also great for getting a few extra hits on bosses, not to mention it just looks so visually cool to pull off. So yeah, I love the insta-shield, and I roll my eyes every time someone says it's lame. It's not pointless, and it's not lame. You just don't know how to use it properly, you fucking idiots. When you're Tails, you can fly while pressing the jump button several times until he tires out, and as Knuckles, you can... glide? Okay. You have to be holding on to the jump button in order to glide longer. Letting go will let Knuckles fall down. You can also climb walls if you glide into them. Well, he's got sharp knuckles on his boxing gloves, so yeah, he can climb walls and glide. All the item boxes from Sonic 1 and 2 are back, but the shield has been significantly changed, and into 3 separate shields, with Sonic being able to use its jumping abilities. There's the bubble shield that lets you breathe underwater so you don't have to collect air bubbles. It also lets Sonic do a couple bounces if you keep pressing the jump button. There's the fire shield that makes any character impervious to fire elements, and Sonic can have an air dash, almost preluding to his homing attack in future games. Then there's my favorite shield, the electric shield, which not only makes you avoid the pretty rare electric attacks, it also makes rings fly towards you when you're near them, and Sonic also gets a double jump, which is awesome. I love the elemental shields. I fucking love them, and they sadly won't appear in any other Sonic games until Generations and Sonic Mania. They add to the gameplay in all the right ways, and also makes exploring the levels become rewarding and fun. One of the many unique things about Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which I'll just call Sonic 3K for short, is that each level is designed to fit each character. Sonic has a good portion of the level to run around in and explore. Tails has his own little areas where he could fly to find extra pathways and item boxes to come across, and Knuckles actually has his own little sections that are exclusive to him. You see, Knuckles has his own little story that takes place after the events of Sonic and Tails' story. Knuckles' story is pretty basic. He's just sitting back chilling and shit until one of Eggman's surviving robots comes back to wreak havoc while also trying to steal the Master Emerald again with the help of Eggman's other Batniks. So Knuckles has got to stop him while restoring Angel Island. Again. It's pretty neat that the game designers actually went out of their way to give Knuckles his own story so that people could have the ability to play as him. His levels are also altered even in certain spots you tracked as Sonic and Tails. Plus, Knuckles' level design seems to be more difficult to get through. Knuckles is also kinda heavy since his jump is slightly shorter than Sonic's. It's pretty easy to say that Knuckles is considered to be the hard mode for this game. I got a couple game overs while recording his footage, and I did slam the controller on the ground a few times. I'd easily say Knuckles' story is my least favorite part of the game because of its difficulty, but I still love how you can have the ability to play as him, and how he can explore those certain spots that Sonic and Tails can't get to. So if you thought Sonic and Tails' stories were pretty easy to beat, play as Knuckles.
Number 6, the Emerald Hunting!
Treading on familiar territory, emerald hunting is brought back and was also brilliantly integrated into the plot. This time, however, you don't collect 50 rings and either find a goalpost or jump into a huge ring at the end of the level to access the special stages. The big rings are back, but you have to find them. That's right, in hidden spots in the levels you'll find giant rings for you to jump into. There are approximately 4 to 5 rings in each level, and it can be pretty tricky to find them. I've lost count how many times I've completed this game, and I still don't know where all these special rings are. Did you see that? The game actually encourages the players to explore the levels, making every level in this game flawlessly integrate exploration. I fucking love this game! The special stages this time around involve Sonic walking in a 3D world while collecting a specific amount of blue spears. Touching a red spear will make you automatically lose, and you'll be booted back to the level and you'll have to find another special ring. When you make a box of the blue spears, the spears turn into rings for you to collect. If you collect all the rings in the special stage, you'll get a perfect, which rewards you with a continue, which is pretty fucking pointless seeing how this game has a save feature, so yeah, continues are pointless in this game. Lewis. These special stages aren't really that bad. They're not super difficult aside from the last few stages, but if you succeeded to get most of the emeralds by that point, then they're pretty easy to get through. The UFOs in Sonic CD were pretty good, but I think Blue Spear is pretty rad. It's probably my favorite type of special stage in a Sonic game, but losing in them is still pretty infuriating. After you collect all the Blue Spears, you'll get a Chaos Emerald, and after collecting all 7 of them, it will give you the ability to morph into Super Sonic. And Knuckles can also get a super form, but Tails gets nothing. Sorry, Tails. Super Sonic controls just about the same as he did in Sonic 2, and Super Knuckles has a faster glide and you can climb walls much faster. However, this time, you can actually choose when to go Super. In Sonic 2, if you collect 50 rings and simply jump, you're almost forced into turning into Super Sonic. But in Sonic 3K, you collect 50 rings, but you have to press the jump button twice. So that means jumping isn't completely disabled if you're trying to avoid going Super Sonic or Knuckles. I love this game. I would be annoyed that there still isn't a button that can instantly turn off the super form, but there is a quicker option to shutting off Super Sonic and Super Knuckles. When you have around 20 rings and run past a checkpoint post, you'll see those familiar sparkling rings appear above it. Jumping into it will take you to one of 3 of the bonus stages. The bonus stages are pretty neat little levels that can reward you with extra lives, shields, rings, and other many cool things. They're a neat little distraction, but I fucking hate the slot machine when you get all Eggman and you lose all your fucking rings. Ugh! So what do the bonus stages have to do with Super Sonic? Well, when you enter a bonus stage as Super Sonic, you'll leave as regular Sonic. Yep, the bonus stages actually shut off the super forms, and since you pass by a checkpoint post every now and then, you can usually use it to shut off the super form. Plus, you can fuck around in the bonus stage to collect a few things before you get back to the level. I love this fucking game. Now I think I can finally discuss
Number 7! The levels!
I have no favorite level. I love all the levels in this game. Each of them gets the balance of speed, platforming, and exploration just perfect. They're all perfect. And it all begins with Angel Island. Angel Island is the perfect introduction level. The scenery is just beautiful. Sonic 3K is just one of the best looking Genesis games ever. The level also looks tragically beautiful once everything gets caught on fire from Eggman's Batnik. Oh yeah, Sonic 3K changes it up a bit by having a mini boss at the end of the first act before the level gets complete. After you beat the mini boss, the signpost falls out of the sky, but before it touches the ground you can jump at it and make it fly in the air for a little. If you make the signpost hit a certain spot on the ground, a shield or ring box can pop up for Sonic to collect. The game even makes the damn signpost fun to play with. Hydro City is somehow the perfect water level for Sonic. I think it's mainly because we can really get a lot of airtime with the bubble shield when you're underwater. The shields can also make minor projectiles shot by enemies bounce off Sonic without hurting him. Something weird about Hydro City are these hands that grab Sonic and give him a quick boost of speed after letting him go. Odd. Oh yeah, and one thing you may notice is that if you try to enter the water with the electric or fire shield, the game ends up disabling them, which is a pretty nice detail, if a bit annoying. Marble Garden. I love the way this level looks. I find it really neat the way the level falls apart during these certain spots of the level. There are a lot of graphically weird things in this level that makes it stand out a bit, especially these spin tops that can crash through certain spots that even Knuckles can't break through. If you jump off the spin tops during one of those segments, you'll probably think you're stuck. But nope, the game designers wouldn't give you the option to jump off it during an automated segment if you couldn't get out of a spot in the level. Marble Garden is a great example of how it balances out the 3 formulas needed to create the perfect Sonic game, because the exploration can help you get out of a part of a level and you could travel down a different pathway. Did I mention I love this game's level design and that I also love this game? The next level is Carnival Night. Yes, there's a goddamn carnival on Angel Island. I find it pretty neat that most of the game takes place on just one island, but once you reach Carnival Night, you're just kind of like, wait, a carnival? Okay. Despite how out of place this may seem, Carnival Night kicks ass. It's so damn colorful and I love the music so damn much. Fuck you, Sonic and Knuckles collection. I remember one of the first things I ever did in this level when I first played this game was just looking at Sonic rotate on the spinning barrel. If you press up and down at the right times, you can make the barrel move up and down. You're probably thinking I'm bringing this up just because there's this one part in Act 2 where you're trapped in a room and you have to move a barrel up and down to escape it. Nope. Like I said, one of the first things I did in this level was fucking around with the barrels, so I immediately knew how to get past this part of the level when I got to it. I was actually kind of shocked to hear that several Sonic fans couldn't figure out how to get past this part, and I'm just like, really? Are you fucking kidding me? Pressing up and down was difficult to figure out? Is experimenting with stuff in the levels really asinine for Sonic fans to do? You see, this is why holding right to win is a fucking stupid way of playing these games. Ice Cap. Ice Cap is so damn beautiful. One of the most notable parts of this level is where you can loop over and over again if you don't press anything. Or if you don't explore and just hold right to win, you'll end up looping over and over again. Press left. Press fucking left. Look around. Figure out puzzles. Stop being boring, you fucking 6-year-old. Launch base. More story segments! More story segments! In the background, you'll see the Death Egg back again and being rebuilt. And at the end of the level, you'll see the Death Egg launch, hence the namesake, even though Sonic knocks it down at the end. Fun fact, this is the first ever Sonic level to have lyrics. This level is also where the Sonic 3 segment ends and we enter the Sonic and Knuckles part of the game. When you enter Mushroom Hill, you'll come across Knuckles who is leaving a suspicious looking area. You can check out this area and you'll find a big rainbow ring.
Number 8! Super Emerald Hunting!
That's right, you get to go through even more Blue Spear special stages. After you collect all the Chaos Emeralds, you give them away to the Master Emerald and you'll have access to the special stages that can reward you with Super Emeralds. This also means that in regular levels you don't have the ability to turn into Super Sonic or Super Knuckles anymore, but whatever. The Super Emeralds are much bigger and apparently much more powerful than the regular Emeralds. The special stages in this part are slightly harder, but if you manage to collect all the Chaos Emeralds, you shouldn't really have that much of a hard time getting the Super Emeralds. After you get all the Super Emeralds, Sonic and Knuckles can turn Super again. Nope. Actually, they can turn into their Hyper forms. Hypersonic? What's the difference between Hypersonic and Supersonic? Well! Hypersonic is multicolored to the point where he leaves 2 trails of himself behind him when he's moving. He has his own air dash that can also go in any direction you press, almost acting like a double jump. He can breathe underwater without a bubble shield. And he can annihilate every Batnik on the screen if you air dash at the right time. Holy shit! So yeah, Hypersonic is pretty fucking awesome. Hyper Knuckles isn't that bad either. Aside from giving Knuckles a faster glide and quicker climbing, he can also kill every Badnik on the screen when colliding with a wall that causes a mini earthquake. Not to mention, he's glowing pink, which is fabulous. And when you collect all the Super Emeralds with Tails, he doesn't get a Hyper form, but he does get his own Super form. Yep, we can finally be Super Tails, and holy shit is Super Tails OP as fuck. He flies much faster, is completely invulnerable, and has his own army of flickies that can kill enemies just by touching them. Tails doesn't even need to move during boss battles. His flickies can handle the boss for him. Bloody hell.
Okay, those are the Super Emeralds, let's get back to the levels!
Mushroom Hill is extremely atmospheric for me. It's super fungi-y, and the grass effects look pretty nice. I also like how this level looks when it seems to have a seasonal change from Act 1 to Act 2. It's pretty gorgeous. Flying Battery kicks ass. It's the first level that's technically not on Angel Island, and it's home to one of Eggman's stupidest inventions ever. Before the actual boss fight with Eggman, he reuses that laser from Wing Fortress in Sonic 2, but he didn't make Flying Battery explosion proof because he ends up shooting at the ground multiple times, causing the entire level to blow up. Fun fact, canonically, Eggman is supposed to have an IQ of 300. Sure he does. Sandopolis. Okay, why do so many people hate this level? I know desert levels can be pretty dull, but this level really grew on me. I love the way it's designed, and I think Tails has my favorite routes in this level thanks to his flying ability. When you're outside, the desert has a pretty nice heat effect. It could give you a headache if you keep staring at it for too long. While the second act's ghosts are pretty annoying, I do love the way the level looks when it's dark. Blue Night looks so gorgeous. Lava Reef further emphasizes how gorgeous this game looks for the Sega Genesis. I love the way the rocks and lava look in Act 1. The fire shield is also great in this level and makes it much easier to navigate. And I also love the shade of blue Act 2's put in. Lava Reef is also where you know the game is coming close to its ending. You get to see the death egg again, and in Act 2, it ignites the entire level, which is pretty crazy. This leads into Hidden Palace, which almost reminds me of Lava Reef Act 2. It even uses the same music. It's a pretty short level, but it's mainly the bit where Sonic and Knuckles have their first fight, which is pretty pathetic nowadays. This is also the zone where Eggman betrays Knuckles and steals the Master Emerald while also shocking the crap out of him. Thus, Knuckles joins forces with Sonic and Tails and leads them towards a teleporter that sends them to the next level, Sky Sanctuary. Sky Sanctuary is so beautiful. It's one of the only few levels that don't take place on Angel Island. It's just a flying sanctuary that's close to Angel Island. This is also where Knuckles' story ends with the battle with the newly modified Mecha Sonic, who you may recognize as the antagonist from Super Mario Bros. Z. While he kicks ass in that Flash series, in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, all he does is reuse older machines made by Eggman, and on his own he's extremely easy to beat, especially if you're using the Insta-Shield. Though he is the final boss in Knuckles' story and he absorbs power from the Master Emerald, which turns him gold and gives him even more abilities, which admittedly does make him a bit more difficult. After you beat Mecha Sonic in Sonic's story, the sanctuary starts falling apart, so Sonic and Tails have to jump into the Death Egg. This time around, the Death Egg has its own 2 levels, rather than just being a hallway with the battle with the original Mecha Sonic and Eggman's giant robot. There's a lot of lasers, static projectiles, and anti-gravity segments. The Death Egg is probably my least favorite level, which I'm pretty sure surprises a lot of people because I think Sandopolis is much better. But for the last level, the Death Egg is still a pretty grand final zone. Not to mention, the music that plays during the final boss is one of the greatest Sega Genesis pieces ever composed. The Genesis Twang S sound chip has never sounded this amazing before in any Sonic game. After the Death Egg gets easily destroyed, again, Eggman takes off into outer space in his last few machines with the Master Emerald. So Sonic goes hyper to chase him down. Despite all the annoying meteorites and your ring count depleting, the Doomsday Zone is a great ending to the game, and it's only accessible if you collect all the Chaos Emeralds or the Super Emeralds. This zone is also only exclusive to Sonic. Tails' playthrough ends after Death Egg's final boss. So yeah, Sonic has the most levels in this game. Which, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. His name is in the title. You can still beat the game as Super Sonic if you didn't collect all the Super Emeralds, but you won't get the best-ish ending. After you beat the game, you can go back to previous levels to collect all the Super Emeralds since all the special rings got reset in every level, which is pretty convenient. After you collect all the Super Emeralds, you can head back to the Doomsday Zone, and after you beat it as Hypersonic, you get the best ending. And all it does is add an extra scene showing Sonic and Tails flying off as Knuckles runs by the Master Emerald, smiling and being thankful for their help with restoring Angel Island as it heads back into the sky. It's one of the best cutscenes in the game, to be honest. I also love how when you collect all the Super Emeralds, the after credits bit shows all 3 characters standing around the logo based on what story you completed. Really nice touch.
Number 9! The extra shit!
After you complete the game with all the characters, you should have about 9 hours put into the game. The other option you can do is competition. It serves as the multiplayer part of the game, but you can play it alone as well. The 3 options in competition are Grand Prix, where you play through all the multiplayer levels to try and beat the second player. I didn't have anyone present to play with me, so... The other options are Match Race, where you could choose whatever level you want to go to race. Then there's Time Attack, which I think speaks for itself. This isn't the best multiplayer ever, but it's still a fun little distraction. It offers a few mini levels to run around in, along with even more music pieces that sound just as great as the rest of the game's soundtrack. The songs in Balloon Park and Endless Mine would end up popping up in future Sonic games.
Number 10! The conclusion! I'm gonna stop numbering this shit!
Okay, I just love Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It's one of the greatest examples of how you're supposed to do a video game sequel. It offers so much content that it literally needed 2 cartridges to provide all of it. The controls, the levels, the music, the characters, the story, it's all just so perfect. This game is due to a perfection. it gets nothing wrong. People say Sonic 2 is where the series was at its best. Nope, the series was at its best with Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And Knuckles. Okay, if there's one flaw I do have, it's mainly how Sega distributes this game. The Sonic and Knuckles cart was specifically designed to connect to Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but Sega keeps releasing both games separately, and some Genesis collections don't give you the option to put both games together, which is infuriating. The only release to have gotten this right was the version that's on Steam, and the virtual console of the game also has a lock-on feature if you go into Sonic and Knuckles and press the minus button. It's convenient, and I love it when Sega gives those versions that option, but I really think Sega should stop being greedy and just release Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles together as it was originally intended. Don't sell them as two games, sell them as one. Sell them as Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I mean, I like to think that Sega sells these games like this because the Sonic and Knuckles cart also did a few other things. If you put Sonic 2 on the cart, you'll get the ability to play as Knuckles in Sonic 2, which is a pretty nice bonus. If you put Sonic 1 on the cart, or any other Genesis cart for that matter, you'll get the ability to play over 3 million customized Blue Spear special stages, which is pretty crazy. But I'm pretty sure it's not because Sega wants to get rid of the lock-on features. They're clearly just being a bunch of greedy jerks, forcing people to pay double price to play this game. Okay, this was gonna be the part where I was gonna flip out and just tell Sega to give Christian Whitehead more money and to give him another chance and to make that Sonic 3 and Knuckles port he was gonna make. But before I could finish recording all the stuff I needed for my review, Sonic Mania got announced at that 25th anniversary party, and I can't wait to play that game since Christian Whitehead and Stealth are both part of it. And who knows, maybe if Sonic Mania sells, which it's going to, maybe he'll be able to make that port of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And who knows, maybe Sega will give him the option to put his ports of Sonic 1 and 2 on Steam and other consoles. So yeah, I can't wait for Sonic Mania, and I hope Christian Whitehead can get that port of Sonic 3 and Knuckles made. But you know what? Despite Sega not treating this game like the masterpiece that it is, Sonic 3K in the current state that it's in is still the best Sonic game I've ever played, and I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks this. This is one of my favorite video games of all time. It's right behind Conker's Bad Fur Day. Yes, it's that fucking good. I always go back to replay this game. I repeat, the levels, the music, the story, the gameplay, just everything. Everything is just so perfect. Just absolutely perfect. This is the best Sonic game there is and probably will ever be. In my opinion, at least. Sonic 3 and Knuckles gets a perfect 10 out of 10. And I will seriously make this an 11 if Christian Whitehead can get that enhanced port made. That's how much I love this fucking game. But seriously though, imagine Sonic 3 and Knuckles playing on the retro engine in 60 frames a second and in widescreen. Oh, what a dream. But avast, we leave Sonic 3 and Knuckles along with Sonic 1, 2, and CD as we have finished Sonic's original 2D adventures, and he will go crossover into the third dimension. Thank you for watching my review of Sonic 3K, and be sure to come back next time when I review the first main series 3D Sonic game, which is Sonic 3D Blast. What?